what's it called when you replace one face with another? Deep fake.
Yeah.
It was basically deep fake within the pornography industry, and I think that same photo of her with that face was just from social media, like a public account.
Yeah.
So it's quite concerning that like just anyone can grab your information from any kind of social media, any image that you put out. And I think this is also why a lot of people are very hesitant to put their kids on social media, because they can easily convert your child into child pornography, and now that lives forever on the internet, even if your child was never involved.
Let's try. Let's see, guys. Let us know today how we started our show. As you can see, let us know whether you guys want us to always start like this, or whether you guys want us to be more animated or more prepared. Let us know what vibe it is. We're trying to bring you all angles of Cyber Digest, and today we've got exciting stuff going on. These guys want to roast Elon Musk, and
No.
I think let me allow them. I'm quiet, gentlemen. Take us through the first story.
All right, so the intention was not to roast Elon Musk, but rather tell exactly what he's doing.
Breaking the news.
Exactly.
What we actually do.
So Elon Musk sold his own company to his other own company.
So he basically sold Twitter to himself.
Yeah, to his AI company to train it on everything that's happening on Twitter. But we'll cover that. The other three topics that we have Apple working on some healthcare products, which is quite innovative and fantastic, but very Apple branded.
Is it though?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so, but we'll get into that. If you disagree, I really stand on what Apple's doing on that front. Clearly, they're not doing well in AI, but hey, let's see. And then we've got very big trending news that has been, taking Twitter by storm the entire week, which was ChatGPT's 4.0 update.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure we all saw those images that were being generated throughout social media.
The Ghibli art style images, that was amazing. But there's a certain side that really doesn't appreciate its theft of creativity and artistry.
There is that. We're going to explore the ethics of art styles being stolen with AI.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Elon Musk once again not doing great things with Tesla. We know the stock price is down, even forcing Donald Trump to buy a new Tesla, which is kind of sad.
Poor guy.
But
Not forcing, but okay.
but yeah, we can get into the first one, Wandile. What's happening with Elon Musk and Twitter?
Elon Musk has effectively sold Twitter, but he sold it to himself, which is, I know it sounds crazy, guys, but so he sold it to XAI. So XAI is basically the AI company that Musk and others, of course, had started together. And so when Musk left OpenAI, he decided to also venture into AI again, but by himself. And so XAI has acquired X for $33 billion.
Crazy.
So kind of less than what it was initially valued for, what he actually bought it for, which was 44 billion, if I'm remembering correctly.
That's correct.
So it was an all-stock deal. And he said the companies were bound to be intertwined in the future. And so I do think it's a smart move. I mean, I think a huge issue that we've seen with a lot of these AI companies is getting as much data access as you can.
Yeah.
And so even OpenAI, OpenAI and Google, they literally were trying to lobby the government to essentially allow them access to data that is copyrighted, which is just awful. But now XAI has this large data set of information, live information, like information in real time. And so
I think it's incredible when you think of how big Twitter's database is. How long has Twitter been around for, guys? How much information have people given Twitter alone? Like everybody's thoughts are being aired out on Twitter. So now he's using that to train his own AI model, which is XAI. I'm sure many people might not have heard of it. They probably hear more about Grok, which is the AI model that lives on Twitter. And something that I like that I'm seeing quite a lot at the moment on Twitter is that everybody's consulting with Grok to verify with whatever kind of information. If somebody seems to be talking smack, they just at Grok and be like, Grok, is this true?
Which is great.
Which is fantastic.
And it's essentially also acting as a real-time fact checker.
Exactly.
Which is, I think it also addresses that that issue of just misinformation and really just verifying if information is legitimate. So I think it's good. I've actually used Grok. It's actually is pretty decent,
Really?
Yeah. I'll give him his props for that. It's actually pretty good.
Okay, so it's not biased. I think a few weeks back we said that
Yeah.
we think that it might be more biased than anything.
I was surprised. I did see users online were asking, is South Africa experiencing a white genocide? And its answer was, it said no. There's no evidence of a white genocide at all. And yeah, it was quite thorough in its explanation. So yeah, which is of course to the contrary of its owner's opinion, which is Elon Musk. So yeah, that was good to see.
Guys, I'm quite shocked that you guys are not roasting Elon Musk today. Like I've been.
No.
Oh no, we're objective.
We're objective.
We're objective.
We're here to inform the viewers, not
Okay.
to impose our thoughts on them.
Yeah,
progressive.
we don't run
Yes.
smear campaigns. We're objective.
Exactly.
Very progressive.
We stick
well done,
to
guys.
facts.
Well done. So you know, one of the guys that came out is the CEO of Salesforce, quite a big company, and he said that Elon Musk owning both Twitter and XAI is the same as playing chess against yourself and insisting that you're winning. So he was one of the haters that came out and said this. But I think I agree with you guys, of course. And I think if we look at Google, they've got a whole plethora of data to train their AI because everybody's using Gmail and all their applications. You look at OpenAI, they also have a lot of data that people have been giving it. You also look at Apple, they also have a lot of data. So XAI was not really, I haven't heard anybody using it outside of Twitter.
Yeah.
So for me, I think he's just, protecting himself from using data and essentially just making it one company so that data can happen.
Which is
I think is a good, smart move.
I think it would have been illegal if they were taking data from X and just feeding it to XAI.
Yeah, it would have.
Yeah, and I think it's also it's also just a brilliant move, essentially for the vision that Musk has for Twitter or X, which is to turn it into an everything app.
That part.
I think that's just, we're seeing that now in the process of him just doing that, turning it into an everything app that can essentially do anything. Which is,
I'm also curious to see how he's going to integrate it with these other companies. And I mentioned this last week or the week before.
Yeah.
With the Boring Company to Tesla to SpaceX, how it's all going to become like one ecosystem. That's the one thing that I'm really studying closely with Elon Musk and also the brain chips as well. So I don't know how he's going to do it, but I feel like we're watching the beginning of all of that happening, the Elon Musk ecosystem. And it might just be called X for all we know.
I think it's also quite dangerous. I mean, I'm very much against the chips. I'm very wary of the chips. I think, just like Bill Gates, we do have to watch Elon Musk as well in his moves. Because I do think that we can't allow in today's world for people to have ultimate power. And I think that should be checked. I also agree with you.
Did you go on a retreat this weekend?
Yeah, I think he did.
Some spiritual awakening is happening.
We're off to a good start today.
I think so as well. So yeah, I'm really, really, as much as I might not like the way Elon Musk is as an individual, he is doing some insane things.
And I think it's quite exciting. For me personally, I am very much for the chips. I mean, imagine having a Jarvis having Grok in your head that you can just maybe ask yourself anything and immediately things just pop up into your brain.
So you would take a chip today if they offered you a chip in your brain to help you think, you take it.
If it makes me better, yes.
No, never be part of the testing group.
No, not testing. If like they done testing the trials and everything,
even
like
then,
I would
think
definitely take it.
Do you not feel that you're losing a part of yourself by taking it?
What I feel is that I feel like I'm gaining a new part of myself that is better.
I think I would be so anxious at the thought of like I'm being implanted thoughts that I don't actually think myself.
Guys, people get BBLs. You're talking about chips. Is that way we draw like a chip that makes you essentially better?
We're not condoning BBLs
I was
either.
never ready for this conversation.
I'm not condoning BBLs either.
It makes you smarter. It makes you quicker. It makes you more efficient. If you have a disability, it essentially cures that. I don't get what are the disadvantages? Why can't we do this? Why are we not? That's the direction that we should be moving.
What about them controlling you through the chip?
Okay, that is a real conversation. But assuming everything is done ethically, then I'm very much for the chips.
Listen, I am still someone that's very excited about the chips, but I want to see how it works on other people first.
Because
I would definitely do
other
it.
people to like
No. Like people like you accepted it. I'm gonna watch how you react for the first 6 months to a year, and if you're okay, let me try it out at that point. You know what I mean? But I'm very for it, but I am still like somewhat conflicted because they can easily just put a chip that benefits you now. Like, great, it's going to help with your scoliosis or whatever it is, healthcare wise.
Yeah.
And then maybe helping you integrate, with your computers, your phones, all of that stuff. But then later on, what if there's an agenda? There's a software update. Now
666.
it's election time and you wanted to initially vote for one party and you're voting for the next. Do you know what I mean? It might be like, it starts really, really small until it ends up as you as a cyborg for X. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like I do understand what you're saying, but it's also very selective. I mean, we go to schools, varsities, and we're taught many things. And why don't people question agendas there? Why does, I mean, if we essentially having this product that only betters humanity, essentially we become superhumans. Isn't that a great thing? We get to build better things. We get to experience greater creativity. We get to, essentially, we're perfecting being a human. And I know that sounds, yes, it does sound a bit dystopian, but we are perfecting ourselves. Yeah. Shouldn't that be championed?
So the more perfect version of us is becoming more like a computer, in your words.
Because then what are we? Human beings, our whole differentiator from computers is that we have free will, we have consciousness.
We have emotions.
So when we are like computers, then what are we?
I mean, I think we are heading in a direction where we kind of reached this singular point where technology and human interaction are just going to be entwined. So I think getting it right now and what Elon Musk is doing, I think it's perfect. I do think it's perfect, and especially if it's there to benefit people, especially health benefit. I mean, part of the reasons why this was such a great advancement back when it was announced is because they said it would help cure certain diseases or certain disabilities. I mean, think about people who are poor. I mean, yeah, it's probably going to be expensive, but I mean, once it's out there and it becomes more accessible, everybody essentially can be equal. Nobody is disabled. People can hear. Children aren't blind. We're essentially curing everything
before it progressively gets worse.
Yes,
because it's able to detect it. Obviously,
and then we live longer. We build greater things.
It's good to hear these perspectives because then I see the need for us to ensure that as many people as possible know not to take it. Because the way you're thinking, I think a lot of people are thinking the same way, and we need to be careful because if we can allow everybody to sell parts of their body for a chip or whatever the case is, what then happens when that chip needs to be sustained or recharged? And the first thing is you have to find money to recharge it. And there's just a lot of things that come with these chips, very many technical things. But I like hearing your perspective because then we can know what viewers are thinking.
And you know what? Maybe this is the next step in human evolution. I mean, we started off looking like little tadpoles, and here we are. Maybe the next phase in human evolution is that we become one with technology, and I think we should embrace it.
Wow.
Before it makes us obsolete.
This is a different stance than you've been taking these past couple of weeks, and that's why I'm turning a leaf. Kind of shocked. You've turned a leaf.
I'm not lying. I am turning a leaf because I do think that it's either we become the technology or it makes us obsolete. Ooh, and I do think we essentially should move into a direction where we become one. Listen, guys, I know there's a lot of ethical...
We become one?
Yeah, this is... I'm just shocked because...
This is heavy.
Because previously you were more standing on the side of, no, guys, the human race has things that technology or AI doesn't. For example, the art stance, or when it came to directing AI films and all of that stuff. Now I completely agree with you. Like, it's either you beat them or you join them.
Listen, and part of the reason why I've turned a leaf is because all of that stuff is just narratives. It's narratives in our culture that people have been telling, and so it's been passed on. Like, this very pure, perspective on human intelligence, human creativity. But a lot of these narratives that this shouldn't be, even with art, art should be, purely just man-made. It's just something that massages our egos. It doesn't mean much in the end.
This is so deep. I think you're just reminding me of Revelations 13 verse 16, which says, the second beast forces everyone, regardless of status, to receive a mark on their right hand or forehead. And no one can buy or sell without it, which is either the name of the beast or its number. 666. So it's a world where currency functions through, you don't have to pay through your card, you pay through your chip, which is already inside you. So I think, looking at the timeline of the Bible and the way that they've explained it is to say rapture will happen, where all the Christians will be caught up and they'll leave. And then after that, there'll be this beast. And this beast will force you to say, if you want to buy anything, food, groceries, petrol, you have to receive a chip, either in your hand or on your forehead. And that's the only way to function in that economy. So I think the world you're describing might actually be very close. My only thing is, I hope that when that happens, the Christians that believe that rapture would have happened will be gone. Because there are some of us that would refuse that. And I see what you mean when you say if they make it an economic means to say, we're no longer using money, we're using cryptocurrency or digital currency, and you have to buy using a chip. I guess people who want to participate in the economy will be forced to do that. So I can see the reality of what you're saying happening, but I've never thought about it to say people might see it as a good thing, to say, oh, I'm not going to lose my fiat currency, or it's going to be quick transactions. So there is a selling point to it, which is very interesting.
You're mentioning a mark on the right arm or right hand and the forehead. I'm thinking of Apple watches. Like they have sensors at the back of the watches, and people have been reporting burn marks and stuff from those sensors penetrating their skin. There was actually a tweet that I saw last week of some lady. I don't know if she got a new tattoo or if it was an old tattoo, but it burned through like 3 layers of her skin because she slept with the Apple Watch on. So it's not the first report I've heard of people actually getting burnt from those sensors, but I think it's when you leave it on for too long. So maybe we're already in the beginning of this rapture that you speak of.
I think that's quite shocking also to realize that the way to control people has been currency.
Yeah.
Because everybody needs to spend to buy stuff. And those people that say that it's important for you to have your own farm, produce your own food so that you're not forced.
Yeah.
GMOs in our foods. I think we're living in that world where people would be willing to do anything for money. And without that opportunity, they might find themselves starving to death. And I think human beings, as we've seen in the past, they tend to want to do anything for money.
That is true.
To the point where this might become something. But I don't know, should we move to our second topic? Because this has become very deep.
We're still on Elon Musk, actually. So there was a privacy leak that happened at Twitter. He didn't really disclose it, actually. Or let me not say he. Twitter chose not to disclose it. So it wasn't passwords or anything of that sort. It was more so the metadata of over, I think, 2.8 billion Twitter profiles that hit the dark web. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's just another story within the cybersecurity industry, why cybersecurity is so important. But it's kind of weird that the news wasn't as big as I thought it would have been, just knowing that all this information was leaked to the dark web. But what do you guys think that means if it's not your bank account, but rather a social media platform and all that information that's leaked to the dark web?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very dangerous because, people share all sorts of information on social media. And I think it's very, very dangerous to have these leaks. I'm just thinking about people that take inappropriate photos and send them or have them on Twitter, information that people share on Twitter. But I also tend to wonder the other side of it, to say, is there any other use of that information except for creating fake profiles?
I know there was a story that came out about some lady who was just, I don't know if she was watching porn or what she was doing, but she came across a video of her face on a nude lady's body and it looked like it was her. So that was sort of, what's it called when you replace one face with another? Deep fake.
Yeah,
it was basically deep fake within the pornography industry. And I think that same photo of her with that face was just from social media, like a public account.
Yeah.
So it's quite concerning that like just anyone can grab your information from any kind of social media, any image that you put out. And I think this is also why a lot of people are very hesitant to put their kids on social media because they can easily convert your child into child pornography. And now that lives forever on the internet, even if your child was never involved.
Yeah, and especially now we're in an age where things like that, deep fakes, and it's becoming such a common thing. And especially with a lot of these AI innovations that people can easily just replicate you anywhere. And I mean, there was a lady in France who got scammed because she thought she was dating Brad Pitt. So somebody was posing to be Brad Pitt. and he was using deep fakes and pretending to be Brad Pitt, and he's asking her. He's essentially, his story was that he's in hospital
And
he's low on
needs
cash.
money.
He needs
Yeah.
money for hospital bills, and she paid the money.
Sure.
So yeah, man, quite unfortunate, and it I think it's this ongoing thing of building mistrust with people and these tech corporations. 'Cause, I mean, data is gold, and so
They're using it.
yeah.
I mean, following the next story, I think it's quite interesting. Apple wanting you to wear your doctor
On your wrist.
hand, on your wrist. Quite interesting.
And
Yeah.
leaving burn marks while they're at it.
I'm not sure about that one, but this is the richest company in the world entering the healthcare sector. What does this mean for our healthcare?
It probably means that I think maybe just going to benefit the rich people who can afford all of these products. I mean, that's what I think it means.
Making the rich healthier.
Yeah, and Apple doesn't work on things that actually benefit everybody. So I think, much like AI, I respect AI companies because AI is actually free. Anybody can access it. But I mean, of course, yeah, the health, I mean, it's great. I mean, we want to be healthy.
But you're all right. I feel like Apple doesn't even hide the fact that they do not cater to a lower LSM. They know their target
create
market
an
and they
iPhone
move.
SE though? Not to defend them though, but
It wasn't even budget friendly.
okay.
What's 16E?
Yeah.
Not even budget friendly. It might as well be premium in some other brands. But yeah, they don't do that anymore. But the SEs, yes, somewhat, but even so, it's not the most affordable device. But yeah, essentially, Apple's working on something called Project Mulberry, and this is them where I can say they're making significant strides using AI with their Apple Intelligence. The other stuff, not great, but here I would say yes. So they're working within the health app that everyone that maybe has an iPhone is familiar with. And the health app helps you track, how many steps you take a day, your heart rate, sleep rate, all of these different things. So they basically working on deepening that study or understanding how users interact with their bodies and how they interact with the watch, and tracking that information and making even better solutions and recommendations on your healthcare.
I do hope it's actually something valuable and not just like the same thing of, this is a great workout plan and your heart beat so many times a second, and then it's easy to build a cute marketing campaigns like, oh well, this completely saves your health. And because I think a lot of companies do that, especially with some of their fitness bands and whatever. So I'm hoping it's something really useful.
I think it will be because they actually are reported to be working with doctors at the moment, like actual healthcare professionals,
and fitness guys
and
as well.
fitness people as well. So they're gathering all the data, previous existing data, and also data that's constantly being updated and making recommendations on how you can improve your health.
So
I think
apparently
that's quite cool.
they're calling it, or they want to call it, health GPT. And for me, I mean, they say it diagnoses you of your physical conditions and the sicknesses that you could have, etc. But they also said it diagnoses mental health issues, which I thought was very
That part is
interesting.
crazy.
Because I'm like, how is a watch
Yeah, that is crazy.
knowing mental health issues?
But
and
you know
also
how I
how-
think they might actually be incorporating it? They have the app. I think it was on the latest iOS update. That app that helps you like sort of like a journal. So you listen to music according to your feelings and you journal, and like you put all that data that would be most likely inclined to like your mental health. So maybe that might be a part of it. I don't know. But it's within the health app.
I really hope that they're not going to mess around with people's health, because I think, with mental health, if your heart is beating, it surely shows that you're stressed, right? So diagnosing somebody with maybe anxiety without actually going through the proper medical health things could really be very problematic. So I really hope that they look into that to make sure that their diagnosis is backed by something that is actually real. Quite interesting.
Yeah, but I think this is a good use of Apple incorporating AI and actually making significant strides, as opposed to just playing with like image playground and small stuff like that are not really making a significant difference in people's lives. So yeah, it's kudos to Apple for this one.
Big ups to them. And I think also we must never forget the fact that many people have started to say that, what are the use cases of AI? Like, how will AI save my life? So I think this is one of the interesting ones that are quite interesting. You guys were creating the new images. I saw you posted one image.
Oh, yeah.
What's that all about?
Kgotso is the one who actually introduced me to it, because I didn't know what was going on. And he broke the news to me.
Yeah. So I literally woke up. I don't know. You guys have probably picked up. I'm a very frequent user of Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter's my news source. So I woke up last week in the morning and I'm just seeing my timeline filled with Ghibli studio art style images. And I'm someone who has watched his movies previously. So I recognized the style very quickly. So I was trying to understand what was going on. And everyone was basically just saying that ChatGPT had released the latest update, which is GPT 4.0. And one of the things that you can do is generate images in different types of art styles. So it wasn't just the Ghibli images.
And Ghibli would be the art style of Miyazaki.
Yes, that's him. He was the animator, Japanese animator who basically made that art style from scratch. He'd use like oil. Like he was very detailed about it. So there was a lot of dispute on Twitter, people discussing like the ethics behind it. Like, why would they just allow AI to replicate something that was a literal art style that took years to perfect, and you can just do it with one sentence and just prompt it and it looks as good as it does. I won't lie, I prompted quite a lot. And Sam Altman actually tweeted that the GPUs are burning and that we need to slow down.
I saw that.
Yeah, I think people were really having fun with that.
They were having so much fun. And it wasn't actually just limited to his art style, the Ghibli art style. It was also people playing around with like the Muppets art style, the Simpsons art style. And that's great. I think it's awesome that people were doing that, but it actually can go a step further. So a lot of people were actually playing around with thumbnail designs, because one of the things that stood out with this software update from OpenAI is the fact that it's perfected words and numbers. So I know all of us here have played around with image generation and tried to incorporate words somewhere, and it always had like gibberish, right? So with this update, it's perfected lettering and numerals perfectly. Like, I'm actually surprised that it did it this well, and why most other AI companies haven't been able to do it this well. So people have been making YouTube thumbnails without actually consulting their graphic designers anymore. And if you guys didn't notice, our thumbnail from last week with the robotics was purely made on ChatGPT.
Sure.
And I did see also other people just kind of creating mock-ups of like websites.
Yes.
Which was incredible. They look so clean.
And it's crazy just how simple the prompts are. So with just this one that was showing you on the screen, this lady or this man basically made a mock-up for a website, right? And the prompt that they said was, use this cosmetics website as a reference and create a homepage for a modern bakery website. Keep the same layout, fonts, and clean style. Replace the skincare content with high-quality images of bread and pastries. And if you look at the images, it's exactly the same as the makeup brand, the cosmetics website. It's just that the products that the girl is holding and that are placed there are different, but everything else is exactly the same. And it's so fascinating how accurate this ChatGPT 4.0 update is with image generation, man.
Do you guys think that with some of these innovations that it starts to, in a way, devalue actual talent?
Yeah,
unfortunately.
And people, I think a lot of creatives are a bit in denial, man. But here you can't deny.
I'm really on the fence about it.
Tell me why.
I mean, I think talent it's invaluable. I mean, Miyazaki was like, he pioneered that art style. He changed film for. I mean, I don't know if you guys have watched Spirited Away, but you should. But
it's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, that is just, it's a testament of human artistry. But this house, it kind of, people get to, especially little kids or young people, they get to come up with they get to do really cool things. I mean, it's sky's the limit for them. I mean, they can start designing websites from a very early age.
Exactly.
They can start creating movies from a very early age. They can design. They can become architects from a year. They can do anything, and there is something very beneficial to that. And the other part of it is it not an ego thing that, okay, well, now people get to design
partially
like me?
Yeah, I think
people aren't as talented as me. I'm an actual artist.
Yeah, because you're so attached to that style and you understand what it meant to build it from the ground up. Yeah. And now these 5-year-olds are building things that it took you years to perfect. And that's their starting base to get even further within, whether it's on art style or architecture, whatever it is.
And whose fault is it if AI advancement is outpacing your talent? If you're getting easily replaced because AI can draw just like you, I mean, whose fault is that?
It's us
This
as humans.
was bound. This was inevitable. It was the inevitable phase in human evolution. So,
Real.
I think it is a matter of just accepting
Oof. I think this is so deep because when we discuss these things, we sort of forget that there are people who have spent years going to school to study through a degree to become a graphic designer. And there are also people that are doing it for a living, etc. I think for me, my biggest concern is it seems like the small business might die. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of graphic agencies, for example, agencies that literally just specialize in making beautiful graphics, right? They see this. One person from that agency can do the whole work of the whole agency alone. So what that would then mean is that the small business people will look at it and say, okay, we're a small business, but what we can do, an individual can do it. So the collaboration element of the way business is done sort of gets broken down, right? Because now, before we needed someone else to do the wording, right? Someone else to take the picture, so to import the picture onto Adobe, to play around with it, the artist to put it on, everything, that whole process used to take very long. And now the fact that it's just, done easily, I think that we are going to a stage where companies would have to forcefully train everybody in the organization to use AI so that they can compete with individuals.
Which is good.
Yeah.
I think this is good because I think it's going to push humans to really become problem solvers again and innovators again. I mean, back in the day, it was out of necessity. I mean, right now, you essentially have technology that can do all the things that we can do. And so how do we kind of break out of that limbo or being stuck? How do we rise above that and start to innovate and come up with solutions that even AI hasn't come up with anymore? So I think it's a challenge for humans, but it was bound to happen. You can't run. That's why I have a huge problem with people saying, well, no, people shouldn't be able to do this. People shouldn't be able to generate images like this.
But it's happening.
And why shouldn't people?
It's happening and it's happening fast.
And why shouldn't people? I think it's just their egos. Like why shouldn't they? Yeah, people should be able to maybe make movies like Scorsese. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's great. So yeah.
Oof. Did you guys both go on a retreat? Did I miss out on something?
I'm also quite shocked at Wandile's opinion, but I think just watching the way that AI is going, I think it's humbling to recognize that it is what it is. Like, everybody's going to have to adapt or not. And I think we might not understand it, but there was a period in history where everybody started using email and computers and the post office. I don't know, you guys are too young to know about the post office.
I know something about the post office.
So when we were young, one of the assignments we had to do in school was to send a letter to somebody during the post office, right? And you literally had to go get a stamp, you had to go get a sticker. It was a whole process.
Oh no, that's
right?
crazy. That's too
Am I a dinosaur? But anyway, what I'm saying is that what we then saw after that is then we saw email, we saw WhatsApp, because WhatsApp came out of the post office dying, right? And we saw all these messaging apps, your MiG-33s, your Mixits and everything. Yeah. So I do believe that we're having that shift with AI. But I think the only difference now is that it's no longer coming for your creative, because with the post office, you still had to sort of type the letter, right? Now you're sort of prompting and it's doing that. So I think it's coming for the most integral part of our bodies, which is the brain.
I think this is going to sort of force these small businesses and maybe the creatives within large organizations to become more thinkers. So it's going to work, like I was saying with the children, it's going to work as a base, right? If I went to school for 3 years to understand how a website is beautifully designed, and now I can just prompt it with 2 sentences. It's going to force you to think even more creatively, like, how can I level this up to the next level and the next level and the next level, without requiring a whole team to help me with it. Yeah. So I think, yes, it's going to probably get rid of a lot of people within the professional space, but also it's going to force people to think a lot wider. Like, it's going to challenge people quite a lot. So
I think it's an opportunity for us to truly stretch ourselves.
Yeah, like, more than anything.
Imagination. And it's a great thing. A lot of people will, of course, get left behind. But, I mean,
sometimes I feel like it's by choice, because you always hear people saying, oh, I'm scared of AI. I'm scared. I'm scared of what it's going to do. I'm like, what? Why are you scared of a computer? A computer's not here to harm you, like. A lot of all this information actually is free to be able to access and play around with. So you also, I think this is more for the viewers. You guys don't need to feel like it's coming for your job. Try and see how you can incorporate AI into your daily workflow, the things that you do every day, whether it's in your work, whether it's in your gymming process, whether it's in anything that you normally do on a day-to-day. See what kind of AI platforms could work for you on that front.
Yeah, because I mean, now if you're trying to start even just like a small business that probably maybe lives on the internet, you don't essentially need to be so many things and to hire so many people. You have tools that can automate a lot of things for you and create a lot of things for you, like designs, and also just streamline a lot of work. So I think it's really good, man. I think it will even help a lot of small businesses, to be honest.
Yeah,
who
no
are
facts.
under-resourced.
Yeah, especially
That's true.
entrepreneurs. Yeah, because now they can create beautiful stuff on their own.
Yeah, I mean, you can become a social media manager, or I mean, you have a company, you want to manage social media effectively. I mean, not everybody knows how to write social media posts, and that's fine. Even post or edit or create thumbnails, but you can do all of that, which is crazy,
What a world. Now, coming back to Elon Musk, I'm sure you guys have seen those crazy protests all around the US.
Definitely.
Yeah.
People are upset. When I first saw that, I thought they were not that big, because the US always prompts freedom,
Oh, yeah.
land of the free and brave. So when I first started seeing them, I thought, okay, like it's probably one or two extreme instances. But now that I've been checking my Twitter feed, I see that a lot of them are quite orchestrated and quite planned. It's like buses are dropping people.
Yeah, people are not happy. And I didn't know that this is what happens when a business mogul becomes more politically inclined. I had no idea that this
It didn't
would
happen in South Africa, though.
I mean, we hardly have Teslas.
No, but I'm saying our president, like, he built many businesses, Cyril Ramaphosa, when he got into government.
None
None
of
of
these
these
happened.
countries really are.
Yeah, that is actually an interesting. But I think the difference is that Musk had a platform in which he very much influenced, the presidential elections, and I think people just saw that as an attack on their freedom, effectively. I mean, if you're gonna influence elections, I mean, how are you living in a fair democracy then? Especially, I mean, he was campaigning for Trump the whole time, using his platform, which is crazy. And so I think a lot of people are outraged by that.
Yeah, we're moving into very interesting times, because I think the more we think about it, the more people are having a voice.
Yeah.
But is their voice being used constructively, or is there a force behind it? Because
That's
also
interesting.
the other side of it is that, what about the engineers that work at Tesla? These are some of the guys that have pioneered amazing technologies.
What about them? They're gonna get paid.
Will they
Yeah,
get-
actually, they're still
regardless.
getting paid.
No, but what I'm saying is that as the company takes a stock dip, as they lose money, their future plans. Because remember, Tesla is planning on doing self-driving, autonomous, full-on vehicles by 2026, I think.
Yeah.
And the robots as well. So I think it does affect them. And I saw an interview of Elon Musk saying that he's not happy. And I think the one comment I kept seeing under that post was that now he knows how people who he fired from the government agencies, by saying that they're all corrupt, they were like, now he knows how they feel, which is quite an emotive statement, because I think for me, my biggest problem is play the politics, not the man.
But he is a part of the politics. He's
But the
influencing the politics.
But his businesses did nothing but produce tax rebate,
But unfortunately for Elon Musk and Tesla and the rest of his companies, that's not how the general public views things. They tie you to the company the same way you tie. And
Yeah.
we don't need to mention Bill Gates and Microsoft, but you tie them together.
Yeah,
They're
especially
one
when-
entity.
If we're talking about a person who has a platform where if you join the platform, it's mandatory you follow him. I mean, actually, it's a forced follow.
Yeah.
You can't decide to unfollow. And then he's gonna, post things like, Kamala Harris is bad, vote for Trump.
Exactly. Slander your beliefs when you've just joined the platform.
Where you don't have a choice but to follow him on the platform. And he makes political tweets like that. I mean,
so you're saying he deserves it?
deserves it.
I'm not saying I'm not saying
No.
he deserves it, but I'm
But-
saying unfortunately for him, these are this is what he's reaping.
Yeah.
He sowed these seeds, and this is exactly the results of that.
Because I wouldn't say he deserves it, but I'm definitely not going to be sympathetic.
I think
As long
I think
as people aren't hurt in the process, but like, you know, a
I think-
billionaire who's getting his car scratched.
I think it's an issue of Elon Musk not being held accountable for the things that he's previously done, especially on Twitter, his remarks and all of that. So I think for him, he might have seen it as, let me take it a step further outside of Twitter and just show them what I can do within the political realm. And now he's seeing a real impact on a company that he's actually built. But I think with the stocks dipping, Elon Musk is going all out. He's asking Donald Trump to buy a Tesla, or Donald Trump offered to buy a Tesla. We're seeing Kim Kardashian posting with AI, with Tesla robots. Like, he's pulling all the biggest influential names within the States to try and pick that stock up. And it's not looking good, bruv. It's not
Do you guys
looking
think
good.
he's nervous, huh? It seems like he's uneasy about what's going on.
Look, I think my biggest issue is that Elon Musk came out and showed us his true colors, and as a result, we're able to judge him on that. My problem is, what about the deep state? The guys that have no Twitter accounts, yet they're running countries and they're doing all sorts of evil things, and no one really knows their voice. I think for me, yes, we now know and people are able to form an opinion and judge. I just hope that we would be able to judge everybody equally. You know, if we're going to be dealing with Elon Musk because he funded or he was part of the Trump campaign, why would we not do the same if Kamala Harris won? So if Kamala Harris won, would everybody then be quiet? You know, what about the people that supported her and all these scandals? So I do think that there is, but I'm also just happy about the fact that we're watching it unfold. We're learning. Let's see where it ends up.
And you might be right. You know, I mean, that's the difference between people that maybe do illegal, quote unquote, illegal things in hiding versus in public. I'm not saying Elon Musk is doing anything illegal, but rather voicing his concerns and political views on a public platform, whereas he could just be keeping it behind the scenes with his family. This is the result of that. Because I mean, how many companies exist that have existed for decades, that have been probably doing things and have opinions worse than Elon Musk, that we're still supporting today, only because we don't understand the thoughts of those founders of those companies. A lot of these companies had like racist founders that were backing slavery in the States, backing shipments of Africans from Africa to the States or wherever around the world, and we're buying their brands to this day.
That's so deep. So guys, we've been checking out some of the value that we can bring you, and we started discussing it last week. We want to bring in a more active element. So we've decided to put together some funds, and we're going to start trading some of the companies we talk about. And the real magic here is we are going to actively show you what we're doing, not so that you can follow us or you can do it as well, but more that you can sort of learn some of the skills that we've developed in analyzing the markets, analyzing what's going on, and you can make an informed decision yourself and do things by yourself. We are in no way financial advisors. So next week, we are going to be taking our first trade. So we're all going to be choosing which company we're going to go for.
Which horse?
Which horse we're going with. And yeah, next we're going to make it more interactive. And another thing, guys, we want to know your opinions. Before we used to have people in the comment section. And I think people only comment when we speak about that other guy. So now that we're not talking about it, we're not hearing your comments. Guys, please make sure that you leave comments. We love hearing from you, and we want to build a community and grow this as big as we possibly can. So also remember to share this video with as many people as possible. Closing remarks, guys? Maybe close with your tech spotlight, because we didn't cover that.
I'd say ChatGPT for this week, because of
the
image.
Yes, so mine is also ChatGPT paired with Kling AI. I think previously I was using Sora for image generation and videos, but the things, I know OpenAI owns Sora, so I don't know why Sora's images are not coming out as clean as the ones on ChatGPT, but just those two paired together, it's phenomenal. That's my tech spotlight.
Wow. I think my tech spotlight is still deep research. And I spoke about this. It's really an amazing platform. I think I'm loving the fact that AI is able to reason a little bit better. It's starting to reason more like an educated individual. So I think it's really cool.
Nice.
So yeah.
All right, lovely. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week, same time, same place. Thank you.